welcome to RPG Book Club Longcast Returns, the podcast where we play a little bitty bit of a big video game and talk about how it makes us feel. I am Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Houck. I guess we haven't done the intro in a while, so, give us some grace.
I'm Maddie Grace Webben.
We already have some grace.
There you go.
It is.
I bring it every time.
Yeah, we were rip-roaring and ready to go for this like 3 weeks ago, and then Maddie was like, hey, I got to bail. Can we do it in a couple of days? And then in those couple of days, I got COVID, and it sucked. So here we are, a little late, but worth it. But before we dive in and talk about the rest of Main Quest 1, let's do our top 3, which is a surprise to me. Bernard said he wasn't going to tell me what it was, so I could not prepare until right now.
For this one, we've got to not prepare. We've got to not think about it because it's too hard. We'd be up for nights charting it, trying to figure it out. Yeah.
And before you say it, I want to clarify a little more. Remember how sometimes we joke and we say that sometimes when we say 3 favorite things, it really just means let's name 3 things that we thought of that we like. Mm-hmm. You got to get really into that mindset for this one.
Yes.
So Bernard's going to say it and we're just going to fucking go because otherwise we will be here all day.
Okay.
Top 3 Tetsuya Nomura characters.
Oh, fuck.
Right, I told you.
Okay, first one that came to mind is Riku, Kingdom Hearts. I love him to death. He is a little shit, and the whole thing would have been fine if he would have just talked about his feelings with his friends, and we could have avoided 49 games. But his character growth of coming back from that has been great, and now he fights with a car key, which is just the coolest fucking keyblade.
He fights with a car key?
He fights with a car key now. It's badass.
So I'm not going to be going off of their arc or themes or anything. I'm just going to be going based on their character designs. Although I understand with Kingdom Hearts it kind of counts because Nomura also writes the damn games. But one that I thought of, funny enough, Riku from Final Fantasy X.
Very good.
Great design. I love her.
I want to say for my first one, the Final Fantasy XV main cast as one slot. Because
I'll allow it.
They are one unit.
So it's fine.
I feel like any one of them alone is not a strong enough design to really say, but as a unit, they are amazing together. Okay,
I've got my second one, actually. I was going to say you couldn't possibly pick just one from FF15, but actually, my second one is the main character in FF15 after the time skip, because he gets really hot.
Oh, that's true. True.
I'm not into guys or anything. I can appreciate a hot one. And video games are full of hot guys. But the amount of hotter that he gets, considering he was already an adult and already a good-looking, boy twink, it's like... Okay, it is kind of tied to character growth and stuff. You know what I mean? You're just like, oh, fuck! This man got growed. Good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I have a quick and easy one that has pictures involved because you haven't played this game. But Literal God from World of Final Fantasy, her character design is just freaking great. And
Net God, she's anime.
I love her. She's fantastic. Yeah, and this
is this cool little lady wearing a suit.
Yeah, and that's not a spoiler. Like you meet her, and your Neku looking main character is like, "Who the fuck are you?" And she goes, "I'm God." And you're like, "Oh, okay. I guess that's where we're starting on this Final Fantasy crossover game."
All right. I don't know if they're my favorites, but I do want to shout out the group Torna from the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 video game, because it's hilarious that Tetsuya Nomura did designs for one faction in that video game that is not a Square Enix game. And they are good designs.
They're very good designs. My last one, it is just an off-the-cuff answer, but Barrett from Final Fantasy VII.
Yes.
Gun for a hand. He's just there's a lot going for him, and I really like him.
You know, also Cloud from Final Fantasy VII is a fantastic design. I think, you know, we give Tetsuya Nomura a lot of stuff for doing really elaborate, over-designed characters, but I think he, in Final Fantasy VII, did an amazing job of doing character designs that scaled down to the tiny polygon models very well.
Which is an important part of character design. You got to make sure you fit the fucking spec, you know?
Yeah.
Mono.
I was gonna say Metal Gear guy, Yoji Shinkawa, but both of them, frankly.
But then with the power of the PlayStation 2, Nomura could do whatever he wanted, so yeah.
Yeah, Squall didn't have to have 2 belts. He could now have every belt.
I have one more, but I need to get his name.
Honorable mentions, as I did mention it, the Kingdom Hearts version of Squall is a very tasty character design. Original Squall is pretty good too, but the Kingdom Hearts one is fan-fucking-tastic.
Remember when they got David Boreanaz to voice Squall in Kingdom Hearts 1 and he sucked?
All right, I'm gonna give 2 more. One that's actually good, and one that's an honorable mention. Funny enough, the one that's actually good I can't remember. Because my brain got sucked up into this one. The honorable mention is what's his name again? Sion Barzad from The Bouncer, the main guy in The Bouncer. He looks fucking stupid. He just looks like he kind of looks like proto
Sora?
Yeah, he kind of looks like Sora. Yeah,
he looks like a goddamn moron. But like I really love The Bouncer. I love the game. I actually think that when he's in motion in CG in the game, he looks less stupid. Like, something about the game's whole vibe, he just, like, fits in with it, actually, in the cutscenes. Like, you immediately accept it. You're like, yeah, this is normal. This is fine. The whole game is just oozing, like, edgy weirdness. So it all just kind of fucking works. And then the last one I was going to say, and again, this is in the spirit of, like, we're not naming our favorites. We're just naming some guys, so no one judge our taste. Aerith.
Yes.
I actually don't think FF7's designs are particularly great for the most part, but Aerith is fantastic.
Aerith is a great design.
Let's put it this way. I often find myself dressing similarly to Aerith, not on purpose. I'm not like, ooh, that's what Aerith wore. I'm just like, oh wow, I look like Aerith today, don't I? What can I say? I wear heavy boots. I wear a short cropped jean jacket. I wear dresses under my short cropped jean jacket. And like her, I'm poor and working class. So there you go.
Yeah, Final Fantasy VII, I don't think gets the Final Fantasy XV pass where you can just lump them all in as one. But Cloud, Barrett, and Aerith are like real good, so it elevates the rest of them.
Cloud's better in Advent Children.
So I don't like his Advent Children design.
Oh, I think he's great. Anyway, we've all named our 3. We can go on now. That was pretty good. Good job, everybody.
I do want to say I did look up Kingdom Hearts Squall to remind myself what he looked like. I forgot that he now has 4 belts on his waist and 2 belts on his forearm.
That's the PS2, baby.
Yeah. That's the power of the PlayStation 2 video game console.
It turns out he was always meant to have that many belts. They just didn't have the technology at the time to fully realize Nomura's vision.
The belt store called They're Running Out of You. Kingdom Hearts Cloud is also a fun design. It's a very silly design, but I love it.
It's goofy.
He's literally in Vincent's clothes.
Yep.
And
he has a bandage wrapped around his sword. Anyway, let's go.
Let's go. So let's listen to some Final Fantasy XIII 3 music and talk about some Lightning Returns plot.
So
So, when we last left Lightning, she was on a quest to catch a killer. In gloomy Manchester, the Children of Etro caucus have doxed and harassed a bunch of women in an attempt to cancel Lightning. And Lightning must needs follow them into their shadowy graveyard meeting, where they have their own internal grievance process. But in order to do that, she first needs to go around town and find the 4 numbers that make up the Zoom password, and then return to the phone booth to get access to their meeting.
Why did we let Maddie Grace do notes?
Why do we ever let Maddie Grace do anything?
She has all day. Okay. Are you going to sit there and tell me that what I just said is not actually describing what's happening in the game?
It is not even close.
Technically Anyway, she has all day to do this from 6 a.m. to midnight, which is plenty of time to do other things like learn how the goddamn game works. That's right. We're going to talk about how the game works now. So, like I said, it's 6 a.m. We have till... Is it midnight? Is that the cutoff?
I believe so. I can't remember. It's been like 3 weeks.
No, so it's the next 6 a.m.
No,
is
the cutoff where you have to get to the place.
Yeah, that's the next 6 a.m., but you can't get to... you have to do it after midnight because the Warrens don't open until midnight.
That's what I meant, yeah. So basically we have until midnight to go to the phone booth to get access to the graveyard. And we need to get 4 codes. But as Sam said, one of the 4 codes is located in the Warren. Oh, damn it. I've got a lot of really dumb political jokes this week, and I was going to do something with Warren and totally forgot. God, that's like so easy. That's like the lowest hanging fruit, and I forgot to do it. Maybe I'll think of a good Warren joke by the end of this. Okay. Anyway, so you have to do 3 of them anytime, and then we have to go and get the last one. You have to get the last one last, right? So it's still a lot of time. This game progresses through time pretty slowly. So if you're most of us, you probably have time to go around and get 3 codes, and then also go to another area, do side quests, have all kinds of fun, explore the battle system. The game's really open at this point. So let's talk about this game's battle system. Then we'll talk about this game's equipment and character growth system. Then we'll talk about, I want to know what y'all did in y'all's play, and then we'll talk about the plot. Remember, the plot's not actually that much, so that's not a crazy thing to do, okay? Yes, this game's battle system. It's so cool. Remember the DLC at the end of the last game where it was just one-on-one Lightning versus Caius, and it was like weirdly, insanely engaging? And we predicted that might have been a little bit of a prototype of this. Kind of, at least in concept. Like, what if you had one guy, basically? And I guess you kind of are changing between your 3 different roles in that game, and this game is similar. So basically, it is a real-time game where instead of waiting for a meter to fill up and then you use it to, well, it's similar. It doesn't feel like ATV, right? It feels like you can move around freely. You just got to use up your meter shit to do things, right? So you have 3 different outfits you can wear at any given time. 3 different, let's call them classes. You have 3 different classes. And whatever class you're in, each of your 4 face buttons does something. So it might be, I think with the default, it's like B, hits them with your sword. If you're playing on Xbox. X, the left button, guards. The bottom button might do a different kind of hit with the sword. And the top button might cast a magic spell, lightning, or something like that. And then you hit the bumper and you switch to a different role with 4 different moves. And then you press it again, switch to 4 different moves. And that's 4 times 3 is 12. 12 total moves, although not really, because a lot of them are just going to be what? Guard, right? You probably need a guard on each of your dresses. And that's kind of it. And whenever you're not in one of your forms, the 2 forms you're not using, their ATV charges a lot faster. While you're doing that, you can move around. You can move around and attack in real time. Now your movement is really slow. You're not really gonna be doing it. Did y'all find yourselves using the thumbstick to move lightning in any meaningful capacity?
No.
I did for a little bit during the fight with Noel because I was like, what am I doing wrong? And I moved around. I'm like, well, this is not what I was doing wrong. Let me try something else.
Yeah. Well, spoiler alert. Now I know who the final boss to speak is. It's okay. It's not a very bad spoiler. Not a very surprising spoiler. So yeah, it's not a big deal really. There was one enemy at one point where like they had a special move where it's like, oh, if you can get behind them, you'll do extra damage. And I'm like, how am I supposed to get behind them? Lightning just like slowly like fashion struts over to wherever you point her. But the thing is that enemy has like a charge move where it charges past you. So after it uses it, then you're behind it now, right? So that's how it works. I have eventually in later, I mean, again, I've played ahead quite a bit, gotten to the point where I want to do some spacing. Like I got to a part where I was fighting an enemy where it cast a very powerful magic spell. And I had to get a perfect block on it, otherwise it would do hella damage. Spells physically travel to you. So the farther away you are, the easier it is to time it. Because you see it coming at you, right? So if it casts a spell right next to you, I could never fucking time it. So I'm like, okay, I'm always going to try and get away from the guy. Ironically, being close to the guy using the projectile is bad. You want to be far away from the guy using the ranged move. But that's pretty much it. So you can move around, it doesn't matter. It really is more of just a rhythmic kind of game. It almost feels like Sekiro in a way. Feels a little silly calling this very janky action game similar to perfect action game Sekiro, but it did remind me of it from time to time. Yeah, so you're constantly having to manage, like, which attacks am I doing? I'm switching back and forth. Which thing does which? What's the enemy doing actual reads? That's how you know it's a real action game, is you're actually reading their animations. And the final thing is that you might think, oh, so you're just constantly attacking because as soon as you're done using one, the others are charged? No. Yeah, the ones you're not using charge, but it's very easy to, if you're too aggressive, it'll just be where all three of your meters are now empty. All your 8s gone. And you do just have to wait for it to fill back up again, right? So you gotta learn, there's a rhythm to it. There's a rhythm. It's you attack, then you wait, you see what they're gonna do. Then you attack, then maybe you wait, see what they're gonna do. And then you try to just get in there, right? But then once you like break them, then you might just want to go ham. Just go totally ham, right? Yeah, so it's a game where it's always just one. You're always just fighting. Oftentimes there's only one enemy, though oftentimes there are more. It goes back and forth. Oftentimes it's one versus many. And you want to time your physical attacks, your magic attacks, your physicals that have elemental attacks, and other kinds of things to do same as before. Raise up their break gauge, buddy. And every enemy has different methods of breaking them. It might be like hit them with physical attacks, or hit them with physical attacks while they're charging up their spell, or hit them with spells, or a big one is guarding. So because this is actually an action game, this game has perfect guards. If you just hold the guard button, it depletes your stamina, and it protects you from damage. A lot of the time, regular guard will actually block all damage. It's not that uncommon. The chip damage, a lot of the weaker attacks in the game have no chip damage. So, like, this really is, like, this game's not about stats. It's really not about that. It's about getting good. Like, you can go to a high-level battle with low stats and just be good at it. It's crazy. There's another guard that's called Heavy Guard, which is what it sounds like. It takes more stamina points, but it will guard a lot more damage. And then even some stronger attacks will do 0 damage. But some attacks are going to hurt you no matter what. They're going to do some amount of damage, maybe even quite a bit, even if you're blocking, which is why you need to do perfect blocks. Just like in an action game, if you hit the block button at just the right time, bam, 0 damage. I don't think I've encountered a single enemy in the game, not even a hard boss, where if you perfect block, it does any damage. I think perfect block is always 100% block. Have y'all encountered anything to the contrary of that?
No.
I'm bad at the game. I haven't pulled it off.
Oh yeah, I was also going to ask is how much y'all gotten the hang of that yet.
I'm not great at it. The enemies always seem to attack later than I think they're going to.
The animations always trick you. They always like psych you out, and you're like, "Oh, here comes the attack," and the enemy's like, "Nope."
Yes, and also you're farther in the game than us, so if that happens, you would have encountered it, not us.
Yeah. Personally, for me, what's happened? Yeah, but I mean, maybe I misremembered though, right? That's what I'm saying. So personally, for me, I was not clicking with this game's battle system until this week's final boss. This week's final boss is hard as shit. It is a hell of a status. It is a hell of a difficulty spike. And yeah, there is a little bit of stuff you can do with equipment. You can equip the right stuff to make the battle a lot easier. But it's really shocking to play a game that has the name Final Fantasy in it, and is a mainline Final Fantasy game in a sense, where it really does have like an action game level of like, no, you need to learn this game or you're going to die. Like that's not something you get from the Final Fantasy series. It's very here's the thing, I play a lot of action games, so this shouldn't be that weird to me. But my brain can't deal with the fact that this is a Final Fantasy game. So my brain keeps wanting to play it like it's Final Fantasy. Yeah. Anyway, by the time I got to the end of this week's boss battle, I was like, okay, this game's battle system fucking rules. So that's how the battles work. I feel like I kind of explained it. Oh, one more important thing about this game that's very weird. The stagger system. In the last two games, staggering was everything. You stagger the enemies and you wail on them. You stagger enemies and you wail on them. It's so important to stagger enemies. And what happens when you stagger enemies? They're helpless. They're crumpled to the ground. You hit the fuck out of them. Usually you knock them up into the air, and then you just bop, 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 and they're just totally helpless, and you're owning them until the stagger meter goes down, and then you resume, right? This game's not like that. The weirdest thing about this game is that staggering is profoundly important, but also isn't as much of a win as it was before. Oftentimes, every enemy has something special that happens when you stagger them. Occasionally, you will get an enemy where if you stagger it, it falls to the floor and does nothing, and you just hit it. But that's not usually true. Usually, when you stagger an enemy, it might like give them a status debuff. Like that's what happens when you stagger them. That might sound like it's fucking nothing, but it ain't nothing. It ain't nothing. The status debuffs for staggering are special. So, like, you can cast Deprotect on someone, which lowers their defense, right? But if you stagger them, they might get a different thing that's also Deprotect, but it's more Deprotect, and it stacks. So if you stack them, and they get their special lower defense debuff, and then you hit them with Deprotect, all of a sudden you're doing a bitch ton more damage to them, right? And the enemies all have hell of health. They're all very spongy, sometimes too spongy. Not just the bosses, but even normal enemies sometimes be quite spongy. So you pretty much gotta debuff them, or you gotta debuff them. You gotta get good, and you gotta break them. Sometimes they get other debuffs. They might get confusion if you break them. They might get weak. They might get weakness to certain elements. Like, oh, now they're weak to lightning, so you can blast them plus lightning spells. Some of them do have behavioral changes. Some of them might have stance changes, and some of them can be broken multiple times, which is really fun. So if you break them once, it might, like I said, make them weaker against magic attacks. And then if you just pound them with magic attacks, they get broken again. And then usually that's the classic FF13 break, where they're on the ground, you hit them into the air and juggle them and destroy them until they get unbroken. So it's very, very, very hard to get used to. Because, with me, when I break enemy, did y'all find early on that whenever you broke an enemy, your brain was like, cool, you broke them, time to hit a lot of buttons?
Yes.
Yeah. And eventually you gotta learn, wait, no, the game doesn't stop happening just because you broke them. You do have to keep playing the game. You can't just hit all the buttons. So yeah, that's the basic sketch of how the game works. Oh, and the final thing, the reason I explained Perfect Guard is that Perfect Guards often will raise an enemy's break meter. Not always. Some enemies doesn't, but that's part of the game's rhythm. Is you don't just attack them, you attack them, and then you let them attack you, but then you guard, and haha, I'm still breaking them. Yeah. Did I leave out anything important?
I don't think so.
You can spend your EP to do a special like limit break mode, but I literally never do it because I'm always using my EP to slow down time. So who cares? We probably could have used it on that hard boss if we were smart, but I'm not. So
Yeah, I am on easy, so I heal after every battle and get more EP than you guys do. So I'm constantly using the limit break thing.
oh, nice, jelly.
Yeah.
So the other thing is, this game is fashion central. It is a huge fucking deal in this game. You get a zillion outfits. Now, I went into this game thinking it was like FF13 dress or 10-2 dress spheres or something, where each outfit like is a class. That's not true. Your quote unquote classes or roles are pretty much whatever you want them to be. The game does not give you direction. So an outfit might just be like, oh, hey, I noticed that this outfit gives me a big magic boost and a smaller strength boost. Okay, I should probably attach some magic spells to it. I don't have to, but I just could if I felt like it. You know? Or, oh, this dress happens to give you really high defense. Well, okay, then maybe I'll put some special guarding moves on it and have even more defense or something. You might have moves, oh, this dress busts my thunder moves. That's good. Or this dress, some of them are a lot weirder. So you just kind of got to make it. Some dresses will have moves attached to them. So, oh, if you want to use this dress, then your X button is going to be Heavy Guard no matter what. Or it's going to be Sundaga no matter what. And you just got to fucking deal with that. Even if you don't want that stuff. Others have nothing. And you're free to do what you want. So the whole game is you're collecting lots of outfits. And not only are they phenomenal from a fashion standpoint, they're also all have different stats and different use cases. And you just got to buy. It's what you spend most of your money on. I'm guessing that's how it was for me. I'm guessing that's probably how it was for you. You spend most of your money buying different outfits and then attaching different attacks to them. You don't get to buy attacks. They drop from enemies, so you don't get to really control that. So you just buy moves, attach them however you feel like, and experiment. And I've already learned a lot. I've already learned that some of my earlier ideas were stupid and I had to get new ones. So I'm really curious. Bernard, what has your loadout been like in this game?
I have like an attacking loadout, a more defendy loadout, and a more magic-y loadout, but there's a lot of overlap between them. I don't think I'm doing a very good job with it. But it's a weird, interesting system. And you said you don't buy spells or moves, but there are those shops where you go and you like synthesize them. And I saw the tutorial for that like 4 weeks ago at this point, and I do not remember how it works.
It's very simplistic. Synthesize is almost not even the right word. It's here's how it works. So first of all, my loadout is pretty much the same as yours. I actually think it's stupid we're not doing it right, but I've only just started to realize that. So I have a hypothesis of what a better way to do it would be, and I might share that with you in a second. But I actually, until now, have been doing about what you're doing, because it makes intuitive sense. Anyway, all that happens is, so yeah, you're fighting enemies, and they might drop like fire spell, and then you find another enemy that drops like, oh, they drop fire spell again. That's cool. Occasionally they might drop fire spell with yellow text, and what that means is that it has a special extra passive ability attached to it. So it might be like, oh, this fire spell, when I junction it, I also get attack plus 10, or I get magic plus 10. Like that's just like a bonus that I get for having this spell equipped. And those are random, or not random. I think there's no way to control it, right? I don't know what makes it happen or not. But other than that, it'll be like, oh, this fire spell. It's a basic fire spell. It's level 1, and it does this amount of damage, and it does this amount of stagger. It raises their stagger by this amount, and it causes this much AT. It takes this much ATB to use. Every fire you get will be the exact same, unless it is the special yellow one. If you go to the synthesis shop, it's super simple. All it means is you use multiple cells of the same kind to make it better. That's it. So if you got 3 fire spells, you just make one of the fire spells eat the other 3, and now that fire spell is level 4, and it's going to be a lot better. It'll generally just raise the attack power usually. And once it gets to max, it'll have a little arrow symbol on it, and that arrow symbol means it's not going to get any stronger. If you have 2 different yellow ones, whichever one you selected first is the one that it keeps, or something. Like, as far as like you can't stack the passives is what I'm saying. But luckily, say you've spent the time synthesizing up like a level 4 fire spell, and then you get like a level 1 fire that also has a cool passive, and you're like, oh god damn it. You can just synthesize them again, and now that level 4 will stay level 4, but it now has the passive ability on it. It just eats the passive. So it's very simple, not complicated at all. You just get the things and you hoover them up, and it really doesn't matter how to do it. I do think at some point you can advance the spells. When I said level 1, that's not actually true. What you'll get is something called Fire Level 1, and you'll make it better until you can't anymore, but it's still Fire Level 1. It'll just say Fire Level 1, and then the arrow that means you can't increase it anymore. To turn it into Fire Level 2, which I imagine is a significant increase, requires some... we haven't unlocked that feature yet. I don't know how to do it. I think it's like some other shop using some item that we haven't gotten to. Cool?
All right.
And I've played ahead quite a bit, and I still haven't gotten there.
Mm-hmm. I do think that the fashion aspect of this game is sort of coming out of nowhere, sort of like the Pokemon aspect of the previous game. It's like Lightning hasn't been a fashion model before, and there's like no in-universe explanation for like why she is now changing clothes magically all the time. And I'm not saying there has to be one. If this were a standalone game, I probably wouldn't think anything of it. I'd just be like, this is a fashionable character, and she's wearing these fashion clothes all the time. But it just feels a little weird to me because that has not at all been a thing in the previous 2 games.
Yeah, I hadn't even thought about that, but you're right. Like, why is it like that? I mean, it's cool. I mean, again, did I say this to you? No, I think I told it to Kyle while we were playing. I was like, oh, in between Final Fantasy XIII 2 and 13-3, I think someone in the marketing department realized who the target audiences for these games is. I have no idea if this is really true, and I'm not going to look it up to see if I'm wrong. But it feels to me like FF14 blowing up and getting super big among like queer people happened in between these 2 FF13 games. And they're like, all right, we are now pandering to the lesbians and the transes because they like Final Fantasy. We didn't know this. There's a lot of that. But yeah, the fashion thing doesn't make any sense thematically, but it's really cool. All the outfits look dope. I'm calling my GF in to come look. Like, babe, look at this new outfit I just got. And he's like, whoa, oh my god. And he slowly rotated it around. You also have accessories that literally do nothing besides just look cute. That's literally it.
And I do want to point out they are also pandering to the gay men who stan a queen.
That's true. Anywho, yeah. So that's pretty much how the game works, is you're just very open-ended, you make your own thing. So here's the thing I realized. That might make sense to do, the way that Bernard said, like, oh yeah, I use this for defending, and this one for doing physical attacks, and for doing magic. But here's the reason why not. Say you just broke an enemy, and they're really weak to magic. What do you want to do? You want to hit them with a shit ton of magic. So you go to your one dress that has magic on it, and use all your magic, so you're out of ATB. Well, then what do?
I mean, I have magic on all of them.
Okay, well, there you go. But
I just have more magic on one.
What I think you need to do, ideally, is basically make a combo-based loadout system where you think of what you want to do, what kind of combos you want to be doing. Like, okay, I do this, and then I switch, and I do this, and then I do this. And then you distribute those elements of the combo among the different fits. So ironically, each fit is not based on a certain idea. Each fit, it's almost like the opposite. It's kind of like how the keyboard, the keyboard that we use to type, the reason why why the QWERTY layout exists, right?
Yes, because you would, if you hit the keys in a certain order, or if you hit keys in proximity too much, they would like get locked up or something.
Yeah, so QWERTY is actually designed to intentionally be less efficient by having the buttons farther apart from each other and requiring more hand movement, so that the gears, so that on old timey typewriters they wouldn't get stuck. Similarly, I think you want to intentionally put similar things that would be used together or in sequence on different dresses. That way you're always rotating your ATB. That's what I think you would do. However, that's very big-brained for me, so I've not done it yet.
Yeah, I suck. So I just put a lot of attacky things on all of them, and I just keep doing it over and over again.
I also have an issue, for example, where, have you all gotten Metagard yet?
No, I want it real bad.
So, Metagard is a very, very important skill, especially if you're not on easy, but even on easy. I'll just go ahead and tell you this. In this game, there's no way to heal, naturally. You don't get free heals, okay? The only way to heal is by using items, which cost money, eating food at a restaurant, which costs money, sleeping at an inn, which costs money, or using an EP spell, which costs EP. Money, EP, and money, EP, health, and literal time are all interchangeable resources, and nothing, and no one rides for free, except yes, they do, because when you're in battle, time doesn't pass, and while you're using Metagard, it heals you. So you can fight a really weak opponent, and then instead of finishing them off, just use Metagard a whole lot until you're healed. And it's actually kind of important to do that later in the game once it gets hard. So to get Metagard, there's a pretty easy to do quest in Chicago, aka the other city. It's the one about the Choco girls. Actually, I'll tell you about that for the Mim Moms. That'll be one of my moms. That way, y'all can just know about it. That gives you an outfit that includes Metagard. Though I will say, I don't love that outfit. However, the enemies in that area also just will drop Metagard as a random drop sometimes, and it's not super rare. So if you're just hanging out in that city doing shit, you'll pick it up. Cool.
We have got to get you a new chair. Oh my god.
I'm sorry. Okay, I'll stop.
It's not your fault. It's the chair's fault.
But next time I can go sit on my bed or something. But anyway, another strategic issue I've noticed is Metagard is on the same dress as all my spells, but a lot of the time I'm fighting magic enemies. So it's like, I want to hit them with magic, and I also want to heal myself. Those are the same ATB pool, but putting it on either of the other two is also a dumb idea. So I haven't figured out where the best place is to put Metagard yet. Anyway, I'm looking forward to hearing what y'all figure out in the future, because there's a million options. Every single thing I've thought of has pros and cons, and I'm never thinking, oh yeah, I'm so smart I figured it out. I'm not there yet. So anyway,
I certainly haven't figured out the game yet. I am terrible at this game.
Yeah. Anyway, it's a very complex game. I'm really loving playing it, but it definitely took a while, and I've played it a lot more than y'all, so hopefully y'all will get where I'm at, or maybe y'all won't, because y'all are dummies. I'm just kidding, because the game is very particular, and it may or may not click for certain people. All right, next thing I want to talk about. What do y'all do for y'all's day? And don't go super deep into it. Just tell me where y'all went and what y'all generally did with this lengthy period of time.
So I went around, and I could not, other than the first one, which is right there, I could not find the numbers. So I just kept going around, finding side quests, being really bad at doing the side quests, not knowing where to go and shit. And eventually I found people I could pay to give me the numbers, or there was one guy I could pay to give me a number. There was another kid who gave me a number after I ran a race with him. I'll talk more about that later.
Wait, doing the race with him also gives you a number?
Yes.
That's why he never showed up after I lost the race. I lost the race with the kid, and I thought, okay, I'll just go back and do this quest on the next game day, and then he wasn't there anymore. And I just figured it was a regular side quest, side quest you can do anytime. But turns out the side quest was tied to this particular section of the game. Oh, that explains it. Anyway, go on.
So I had a really unproductive day. So I reloaded my save at the beginning of the day and went in with all my knowledge and speed ran that day. and did a bunch of side quests and got a bunch done and felt really good about myself.
Man, if I wanted to feel bad because I had a really unproductive day, I would just play real life.
Yeah.
I was pretty similar. I had a rough time. I do think I went and hung out in Yusnaan, Chicago, for a while, and picked up hoovered up some side quests there. There aren't actually a whole lot of them, weirdly enough, or maybe it was just the time of day I was there. And I started on that main quest as well, so that I kind of knew what to do. I think I just did those two areas. I have now gotten to the point where I'm super efficient and can just bop, 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 but it definitely takes a while to get used to this game's like flow. Also, I wasn't doing a good job of like save scumming or anything, so I would often like die and lose an hour. It's like, oh, well, I haven't saved lately, so I guess that just happened.
I spent my entire time in Manchester. I've not left Manchester. It's my home.
It's a good city, and it's got real good music. They all have good music, though.
I also, after, well, I forget exactly when the steps happened, but I completed the quest that lets you go see Vanille. However,
that
I was
later, and I'm going to cover it in the actual main plot.
Okay, but I was like running towards the building and time ran out and I was like, I'm not going to spend EP to extend the last minute of the day. This is ridiculous. So I didn't get to see Vanille.
Nice.
I did every side quest available to me prior to midnight. I did not do any of the ones that unlock after, because side quests in Luxurion or whatever, you get more of them for each step of the main quest you're through. And so I did all of the ones prior to answering the phone and getting back to the thing, because then I was just trying to finish for the week. But I did all the side quests, and I had a couple of hours left, so I went to unlock all of my fast travel locations. So I traveled to all the different places.
God
There
damn.
are fast travel locations?
There sure are.
When you finally leave this place, you'll get a tutorial that you get fast travel, and fast travel costs 2 EP, so it's pretty expansive. But you can, I get EP like it's nothing, so that's like 4 or 5 battles for me. But and so because I had a lot of time, I was going to go and start a little on main quest 2, but I got there after 7 p.m. and main quest 2 basically starts at 7 p.m. and you buckle up and you finish the whole thing at once. And since I got there late, I couldn't do it. So instead I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go and just unlock all the fast travel spots. I then got my ass kicked several times by people in the wildlands because those monsters are real hard.
Nice. Yeah. One thing that's wildland battles are really, really tough there. One thing that's weird is whenever you're in anywhere but Manchester, you can almost be self-sustaining time wise. Like if you're fighting every battle you get into, you can get enough EP that you can almost just have time stop indefinitely. But in this opening city, you get so little EP that you can't do that. Which is interesting. Like, yeah, the battles are easy, but you actually pay attention to the whole time thing. It's always a trade-off. Always a trade-off. Do I want to fight that battle or do I not? How do I feel about this right now? Cool. Thank you all for sharing. So anyway, eventually you get all 3 of the numbers, and it may or may not be because you just found it or because an NPC directed you towards it. In addition to the NPCs that will like be part of the quest and say, you got to do something for me and I'll give it to you, there's also just random NPCs that will just have different dialogue than the usual and just be like, I think I saw some glowing numbers over in this area. And I'm just like, cool. So it's pretty fun. Eventually, at one point you find that another girl has died. She's just lying there while you're exploring. It's not even a cutscene or anything. But yeah, as you're running around, you see another pink-haired girl lying on the side of the road, and she's like, oh shit. And Lightning wonders why they don't just kill her. It's like, wait, if they're after the savior, why don't they just fucking kill me? Like, I'm here now. Like, come on. Anyway, so now we have the last code. The last code is the last code because we can't get to it until the Warren, aka the Poor People Zone, opens up late at night. So you go there, and as soon as you enter, you are unfortunately name searched and reply guide by Lumina. So she shows up in her alt so that Elon can't see her. Okay, I'll put that in normal for her. She, God is, that whole thing where God can't see what she's doing. So she shows up, and she's like, guys, check this out. And it's an Oracle drive, like the ones from the previous game. So it turns out that the Children of Etro worship the Oracle drives, and they follow their prophecies. And then we learn that this Oracle shows that lightning is going to destroy the world unless she's stopped by the Shadow Hunter, who is Noel. So that explains it. Yeah, so Noel wants... Wait, hold on. Sorry, real quick.
To be clear, the Shadowhunter is not the leader of the Children of Etro. They are separate.
I was about to say that, and I thought maybe there was like a copy paste error in my notes. My apologies. Yeah, so you just find this out. You're finding this out yourself. Noel's not there. So you realize, oh my God, Noel wants to kill Lightning, but, and this is because like Luna explained it, Noel does want to kill Lightning. He wants to kill us dead because we're going to destroy the world according to prophecy. But the Children of Etro are just like wilding out and totally like ignoring caucus discipline, and they're doxing any woman with pink hair and pronouns. So Lightning is like, okay, well, if he wants to kill me, why isn't he just doing it already, little bitch? Then Noel shows up and starts blasting. By swinging at him with his sword. Lightning criticizes him for being overly reliant on like prophecies. You're a loser, basically. You're just a cog in the machine. You're just doing what God tells you to do. You're focusing on these grand prophetic narratives. And he says he doesn't make the prophecies, he just follows them. It's called materialism, sweaty. To which she's like, she doesn't say anything that makes like thematic relevant. She just says like, you're an idiot, or that's stupid, you're weak, something like that. However, it turns out that Noel is like, well, no, the prophecy says that I can't kill you right now, so he literally just pieces out and says, I'll kill you later. He also says something which is interesting, which is that he didn't actually believe in the prophecy for 500 long years, but then she showed up. So it's not like he was just sitting around waiting for her the whole time. It's rather that her arrival has sparked a change, and sort of a change in consciousness. This is a recurring theme and will be on the test. So now we have the last code, and we progress with our quest. As an aside, Lightning tells Hope that she was the one who called Noel and Sarah. Lightning tells Hope, she says, Hope, I was the one who called Noel and Sarah onto their time travel journey. Everything that happened to them is my fault. Hope says that Noel made his own choices, and he also chose to become the Shadow Hunter to fulfill the prophecy. Lightning doesn't really know how to square this circle, the circle of like, the prophecy definitely says that I'm going to die, but also I need to do this. She doesn't really know what to do about that, so all she can do is run straight into history and see how it shakes out, which is kind of how she's been for this entire franchise. At any rate, now that we have all the codes, we head to the phone booth. They let us in. So that's the end of that quest section. So the next section of the quest is we gotta go to the graveyard. We go to the graveyard, and it's spooky and has really tough monsters. If you're me, you have yet to get good, so you're getting low-key owned. Like, if there's a certain mob, you fight it. If there's a different mob, you avoid it. Otherwise, you will die, and you will lose an hour of game time. The disciples are at the center of the graveyard. They're going, the promised time is upon us. Behold the harbinger of destruction. Return to chaos, our mother. And there's another pink-haired SJW that they're sacrificing. As they're about to kill her, Lightning interrupts. And everyone's like, holy shit, it's the actual savior. But then Noel shows up and starts blasting. Actually, by blasting them with magical spells. He stops them from murdering anyone. They're like, wait, it's the hunter? Holy shit. Which implies, as Bernard said earlier, that they're surprised to see him. Like, you'd think that the followers of the hunter would be not be like, oh my god, the hunter's here. And they're like, the Shadow Hunter is to save us. And Noel's like, what the fuck is wrong with you sickos? I'm not with y'all. Lightning says, this is still your fault, because they're your fans, and you need to call them in when they're doxing and harassing women. And then they say, or he says, someone says, it's because he took too long fulfilling the prophecy. So they were just taking things into their own hands. Suddenly, the cops show up and start to arrest the cultists, so they're not going to be a problem anymore. So we've now at least solved the part of the problem where girls are getting murdered every day. We did it, not happening anymore. But then Noel decides to RUNNOFT, and he says, you got to come to the Warren for the final showdown. At some point during their little argument here, I guess I forgot when Lightning says it, but she has a really great line. She goes, I've been fighting Destiny for a long time now, and I'm getting good at it, which is really fucking good.
Lightning is really cool in this episode.
I'm going to be doing a surprising amount of verbatim reading here, because so many of Lightning's lines are not only thematically relevant, but are just, they'd all be my mem moms if I didn't. They're all insanely badass. After this scene's over, he basically is like, cool, go to the Warren for the final boss of this quest. At this point, I was thinking, holy shit, this game got really hard all of a sudden. I don't feel like I can do this. It's non-linear. I actually took an entire extra day to go and do other shit because I was scared to fight Noel. Did y'all do that, or were y'all brave and went and fought him?
I just went and fought him.
I was enjoying the game a lot and wanted to keep playing it, and also was like, I need to get stronger. So yeah, I went and did I did like most of another quest. And then a whole day later, I go back and I wrap this up.
I guess Noel's been waiting for 500 years. He can wait a little longer.
He can wait one more day, man. Turns out it doesn't matter though, because this game's about getting good and not about stats. It turns out. Also, when this scene in the graveyard's over, you might notice that there's a little item on the ground. Please pick it up. It's called the Crest of Etro, the Crest of Estrogen, and you need it. It's important. Don't miss it. I didn't miss it, thank God. But later when I found out that you needed it, I was like, oh my God, that would have been really stupid if I had missed it. So don't.
Yeah, it was very, very stupid. And I burned 4 chronostasises so I could do it without missing any in-game time.
Yeah, it's very easy to miss. And I'm just very lucky that I happen to not. So yeah, don't do that. Okay.
Is this the thing that gets you into that area that you need to go to?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did you already have it?
Yes.
Cool. So anyway, so we go back to the Warren, and we have to fight Big Structural Bailey. Nailed it. So Lumina slides into our DMs again and taunts us. She's like, is Noel really that important? Lumina then proceeds to explain the plot of FF13-2 again for new players. But she does remind us of Yule's important last words. Quote, we'll meet again in the future. Lightning realizes that's why Noel's been able to believe this and hang on to this for 500 years. He's not just completely nutty holding on to nothing. A girl who could literally see the future told him that they'd be together again in the future. So it's not completely ridiculous. But then she says something like, oh, he was holding on to her memory. And then Lumina says, not his memories, it was the promise of a future that gave him hope. I just want to comment that the music during this scene is a variation of Noel's theme, and it's incredible. Jaw-droppingly good, and we're going to want to drop that into the thing later. That's what I wanted to drop here. It's they change up the chords and make it like fucking depressing and heavy, and it's so good. So anyway, we get to the center of the Warren, and we see Noel watching a different Oracle drive. It shows more. Not just that Lightning is going to destroy the world or try to, and then he's going to kill her, but that after he does that, it'll make this bright, glorious, good future, and also Yule's there. So we realize, okay, he has very, very clear, obvious reasons for doing what he's doing. You know, like, it still sucks, but, you know, it's pretty, it makes sense, actually. Actually, a little bit of a dilemma here, because, again, the whole predestination thing. One line that Noel has I like a lot, he says, this time it'll happen like it's supposed to. It's going to work. So then he says, yeah, he's talking about back in the day. And so here we get some good thematic language and some good lore. He says, yes, back then, at the end of the previous game, we won the fight like we were supposed to, but then he died. That unleashed the chaos that's tearing this world apart. So yeah, I destroyed the world. It's a hell of a thing. We also learned that Noel, Snow, and Hope actually worked for many, many years to fix the world after it all broke. But they were, quote, fools back then. They, quote, might as well have spat in the wind, the good it did. So actually a lot did happen in this 500 years. These characters went through a lot we just don't really know about. But eventually it just came to nothing and they just gave up, basically. Anyway, the prophecy is the key to his dream, to seeing Yule again. He wishes it didn't show lightning dying, but it does. He says, quote, 500 years I committed the ultimate sin. One more death on my conscience means nothing to me. He's trying to be badass here, but as we'll see in a second, he ain't got nothing on light. They have a super badass cutscene fight before, like you always have before an actual boss fight. He says, wow, God made you really powerful. She says, yeah, but it came with a price. I don't even know if I'm human anymore. If you recall that from last time, it's a recurring thing where she's lost all of her emotions and her humanity. Then, as if she hadn't had enough badass bangers yet, she unleashes this absolute fucking masterpiece. Quote, if I had any humanity left, I would have been crushed by guilt by now. Do I look crushed to you?
Oh, good.
I was screaming. Then
her voice acting continues to be amazing. She sells each badass line so well.
So then she says that she'll do anything for Sarah, even get rid of her humanity. She says Noel isn't based like her. He's cucked. He can't actually kill her. Quote, you might still have scruples, but I don't. Want to find Yule? Then find her in death. But he manages a pretty good riposte here. He says, oh, I'll find her all right. I'll find her in a new future, one we'll create with our own hands. And then we get a boss battle. As I mentioned before, this boss battle is a shocking increase in difficulty. Is it even that in easy mode?
Yeah, it was real hard. I died infinity times.
It's hard as fuck. You have to. There's no way to get through this without understanding how the game works. It's like, all right, you get
I would argue you can beat it on your first try without understanding how the game works, because that's what I did.
Bernard, you're weird. You play games and just hit random buttons and are really good at them for no reason. This has always been a thing for you.
I did get a score of 1 on the fight.
I don't remember what I got. Probably 0.
Pretty 1 is the lowest score you can get.
Oh. So you do have to do a little bit of stuff here with if you modify your items, you'll notice that he uses a certain element, and if you can certain elements, so you can equip stuff that'll help with certain elements. That'll help a lot. And also modify I don't need fire, ice, and lightning on my spell dress. I just need the one that's going to hit him for a lot of damage. I just need the good one. So put something else on the other ones, right? Again, this 3 weeks ago for me. Do y'all remember what his attack patterns are or anything?
So surprisingly,
I kind of wish
he's for him being so hard, he basically just will if you combo him too much, he has a punish combo, and then he'll do a javelin, and then he has one where he buffs himself. And then he has one mega javelin special move. It's the most first boss of the game type. Yeah,
that's right. And once I finally figured it out, it wasn't super hard, even though it did take a while.
Yeah, he just hits way harder and punishes you a lot more than all the
that's
other
the main
ones.
thing. After you break him, he has. Or after you, which might make you want to not break him, but he's such an HP sponge, you do have to break him. But yeah, after you break him, he essentially will respond by buffing the shit out of himself, and then using some really strong combo moves. So you can just hold down block, and it'll hurt you. But if you're smart and then heal afterward, and just finagle it, you can survive, or you can get good at the perfect blocks, right? Which at this point I was okay at. Some things I could perfect block. Some things I couldn't. I did not have Dispel. I think I had it, but it wasn't equipped. So for me, when he buffed himself, I would just wait for the buff to wear off, or like wait till he wasn't attacking me anymore. But yeah, I remember that. You're right, Sam. It's a very simple fight, and each thing has a simple, like, everything he does is action and reaction. He does this, you do this, and once you learn it, it ain't that bad. But if you mess up, it's a pretty heavy punish. So it's this really fun dance. Oh, for me, the issue was always, again, being too aggressive and then not having any ATB in any of my dresses, and then I couldn't respond to what he was doing. So that's the main thing, is knowing that you don't go as hard as you can. You go, and then you back off. You go, and then you back off. It's got this reciprocal quality to it. Anyway, really fun battle. Me and Sam, after many tries, beat him. Bernard beats him on one try because he's Bernard. So then Lightning is like, I know you guys say Yule and all that stuff, but like, sorry about you. And then he says, I need this future. And a new version of Yule's theme plays, and it's also incredible. Noel goes to stab Lightning one last time, but it does that thing where the camera cuts and he actually threw his spear at the Oracle Drive, and it destroys it. He has finally had a change of heart. He says this isn't what Yule would want. Every vision of the future Yule saw whittled her life away, but she never stopped trying to make the world a better place even then. Noel realizes that he wasn't really doing any actual work to make the world better. He was just trying to use a shortcut, waiting around for someone to kill. He's eaten up by his. Oh, and this is more my interpretation of what he says. He's eaten up by his mistakes. The world broke. He's had 500 years to fix it, and he hasn't. Not because it's so unfixable that it can't be fixed. No, it's because he didn't do a good job. No one else did either. They tried their best, and they weren't able to figure it out. That's a lot of weight to carry. That shit ain't easy. So it's cool. I like it. So the ghost of Yule then shows up actually and says that he did the right thing and by destroying the drive, and that they'll meet again sooner than he thinks. Then Lightning gives him basically a organizing pitch where she says, you need to let me save your soul. She preaches the gospel to him, and she says, you belong in the future and I can take you there. He says, is God building a paradise? And she says, not exactly. It's just an ordinary place with ordinary people working as hard as they can to make it as good as it can possibly be.
So it's gonna fucking suck.
No, not this time. Not this time. But we're not done yet. So that's the end of the quest. Noel gives you his soul juice. Hooray! We completed the first quest of the game. Good job, everybody! And we get a heck ton of stat increases, and we get one more EP, which is a great reward for a battle. We also get Noel's spear, which is phenomenal.
Yes, it is.
It's got stupid good stats. Also, he's got a move. He's got this, he's got a spear, and the spear has a special effect, which is that there's a certain move that is really good for raising someone's stagger. Like, it's a physical attack that does pretty good damage, but it's got a huge amount of stagger power behind it. Do y'all remember what that move's called?
No.
Well, I guess y'all haven't played much more, so I wouldn't know. Anyway, whatever, I don't remember what it's called, but it's a very important move that I'm using a lot of. The spear has a special ability on it where if you equip that spear and you have that attack, then that attack will turn into jump, like a dragoon, which is really cool. So it makes that one attack. So they're designed to be used together, and it makes it even better. So you can just ratchet up someone's stagger with it. And again, the stats are phenomenal. Do you get anything else from him? Do you get like an outfit from him or anything?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, I think it's just the spear. I remember getting a lot of new stuff around that time, but maybe I got it from other sources, or maybe like side quests. Yeah. So anyway, that's the end of the quest, but we're not done because I actually forget how this happens. Like if it's like an NPC tells you, or just literally like a tutorial screen. But somehow or another, the game makes you aware that we should go to the Cathedral of the Gods. The game just says, "Hey, you should go there." So you go there,
Yeah,
And
it's literally a tutorial pop up, and
there
it's
you go.
like, hey, the cathedral is open from these certain times. I wonder if you go there to the other fast travel point, if there will be another main quest there. Who knows? Go check it out.
I guess the game just really wanted to make sure that we didn't miss this, even though the game's supposed to be open-ended. I don't know. So we go, and it's not a main quest; it's just a side quest, but it is a very important side quest that I do think is kind of like an epilogue to what we just did. So we go to the Cathedral of God, and we couldn't get in there. We could go in the cathedral, but we couldn't see the priestess. So we talk with the guard out front. It's this girl named Aremia. I love her. She gets kind of flustered by lightning because she's fucking gay. And she explains that she's a holy knight, and all the holy knights guard the high priestess, who is Vanille? Which we saw that last week in a cutscene, but it wasn't said in dialogue. It was just something that we briefly saw in a cutscene. So Vanille's the high priestess and the saint. She has a precious stone that means a lot to her. And she's been despondent ever since. Now, those of us those real heads out there, we know, this is something about her being extremely gay for Fang here. So we gotta go get the rock. You know the drill. Also, for unclear reasons, Vanille's never allowed to leave the cathedral. So, there's another little detective quest where we try to figure out who stole the thingy and get it back. Honestly, it's really not very interesting, and I will not be going into it. Except that I will say that the crook was a delivery guy in the warehouse district, which frankly is anti-logistics propaganda, and I will not stand for it, okay? Man, if Hoffa was still around, oof, y'all, you'd be on site, okay? So anyway, we return the stone, and Aremia reveals what's special about it. That's right. It turns out that Vanille was holding... Yes, okay, this is when we learned this. Turns out that Vanille was holding the stone in her hands when she woke up from her crystal slumber 13 years ago. Just 13. The whole previous game was to save them from being crystals, and then they went 487 years still being crystals. I have no idea why. It's not explained yet. Okay? Maybe they just wanted to use number 13 again. It seems like a real shit deal, is all I'm saying. So 13 years ago, they woke up, and she had that in her hand. Sometimes when she stares into the stone, she gets a glimpse of, quote, her family. As soon as Aremia says her family, Lightning's like, oh, you mean Fong, because they're gay. And Aremia's like, yeah. Aremia lets us go in to see Vanille. And there she is.
How much more of this are you saying? Because this is 100% after the agreed upon stopping spot, so I have not done it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, so I meant to say that we should do this, and then I forgot, and I apologize. It's only a little bit. It's literally one cutscene.
Okay, yeah. Cool. I just didn't know if you were doing main quest 5 right now.
No, this is like I said, this is not a main quest. This is just a side quest that the game shuttles you into after you finish this quest.
Okay.
Yeah, you do a cutscene, and then that's it. It doesn't go anywhere. So, yeah, I apologize. I forgot to tell everyone to make sure we did this or to talk about if we were going to do it or not. But I think it's important because it is kind of an epilogue to this.
Yeah.
So, what was I going to say? Where is it? Right. So we go in and we see Vanille. She mostly looks the same, except now she has some priestessy garbs. Her accent is more normal. Lightning narrates. So weird thing here. Lightning narrates to herself in her mind to the player the plot of Final Fantasy XIII, and then Lumina interrupts Lightning's internal monologue narration. That it literally, like, Lightning is like, yeah, and I haven't seen Vanille since that thing happened, and then Lumina's like, that's right, and I'm like, well, what the fuck?
Nice.
It threw me off. So apparently Vanille and Fong woke up at the same time 13 years ago, and they were together for a while, but then Fong left. Vanille has to stay here for something really, really important. She and Lumina have been, quote, thick as thieves ever since then. Lumina's really upsetting to me. So we follow her to a big weird room. Basically, at the center of the cathedral is like the most insane amount of chaos ever. Just a stupid amount of chaos swirling around and trapped in there. Vanille talks to the chaos and is like, yeah, I know it hurts. I know it sucks. I'm here, baby. And Lumina explains that it's not just chaos, it's like the souls of all those who have died since the gate opened 500 years ago. They have a stupid amount of sadness and grief, and Vanille has to be there to take all that into herself and feel all that pain and keep it from festering. The world's being destroyed and can't be, so all these souls can't be reborn. Vanille's job is to guide them towards absolution when the time comes. We don't know what that means, but that is what she has to do. If she doesn't, all the pain and suffering and negative vibes, if all that escaped all at once, it would destroy not just this world, but all worlds and the future. So I'm guessing this is setting up the end game, but it does not go anywhere right now. It's just a cutscene. So we learn that, and Lightning's like, cool. And then we return to the arc. One final scene. I, again, should have said this, I'm sorry. To me, it all just made natural sense, but obviously it should have been discussed. After we return to the arc, there's one more of those little scenes inside of Lightning's mind. And she drops one last bit of hot goss, which is, remember the Oracle Drive prophecy that Noel was obsessed with? Lumina just made that. It's fake. It wasn't a prophecy at all. So the game was doing that thing where you have an interesting thematic dilemma, and now we don't have to deal with it because it was just the bad guy playing a sneaky trick. So we no longer have an interesting thematic conflict. And that's it for the
Giver Gambit.
The old what?
The Giver Gambit.
I thought I remember the plot of that book, but I guess I don't. If I don't remember how that's relevant, you should tell me later.
Sooner than memories begin to fray, everything from the
So how the fuck did you lose that race against that kid? Because I got too far ahead of him and he despawned and I was confused for a long time.
Because they said to go to North Station, and I think I just forgot which station was which, so I went to the other side of the map.
I couldn't remember which station was which, but you know what? I went in the direction the kid was going.
Yeah,
I ran ahead of him and then went to the other side. Look, I'm not smart, okay?
And the mini map updates with a waypoint.
Okay.
You just follow the arrow.
I wasn't looking at it. They said go to the northern station. I was like, "Pop, I know where that is." And folks, I didn't know where that was.
So I find it interesting how there was at least one NPC that talked about Lumina as if she's just like some girl in the town who
it's a
causes
common thing.
trouble.
She's a known quantity while also being some weird demonic child who breaks the fourth wall. Yeah, it's very upsetting that it's both. Usually don't get both of those things at the same time. It's the same character.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all do any really good side quests you want to talk about?
Probably.
Yeah, I did everything but Noel 3 weeks ago. So let me pull up a side quest list and refresh my memory.
I did one where a kid's soul got trapped in a cat.
Okay.
Oh,
I've been
yeah.
trying to figure out how to trigger that one. Tell it to me, please.
I don't remember how I triggered it.
Okay. Well, then tell me what happens. That's all I need.
Oh, you just, he's like, I had my cat die and I was really sad, so I tried to do alchemy and necromancy and shit to bring her back. But then some girl who I think is said or implied to be Lumina, I can't remember which, gave me a potion, and Lightning says, didn't anyone tell you not to drink strange potions, especially ones given to you free of charge by people on the street? And I screenshotted that and tweeted it at VG Advisor, and they retweeted it.
That's awesome.
Good job, everyone. But you have to go and get a bunch of ingredients for a counter potion, except it's more like smelling salts, and you have to take it to the boy's body, which is just standing around vacant, and you have to get it to the boy's body and wave it under his nose so he'll turn back into a human, get his soul back into his human body. However, the smell of the salts attracts cats, and they'll try and get it from you.
Oh my
and
God.
the boy's surrounded by cats. And I got it on my first try. I just ran straight forward to him, and no cats got to me. So, and then, so you do it, and the boy gets back in his body, and Lightning's like, "I hope you learned your lesson and can grieve for your cat in a healthy way." And then the ghost of his cat speaks to him.
Holy shit.
And it's like, "You've got to let me go," and shit. And I'm like, so wait, cats do have human intelligence in this world?
Weird.
And souls? But yeah, so that's basically what happens, more or less, my vague memory.
Nice. So here's a fun one. In the other city, there's a quest where you talk to this guy named Seedy, and so in that town, there's a whole bunch of restaurants. It's like the restaurant quarter. And there's this one guy who's like named Seedy, and he's like, "Oh, it's Seedy's restaurant actually," and he's like, "Oh, I got this really cool. It's a really weird dish, but like no one wants to try it. I swear it's good, but no one wants to try it because it's weird. Do you want to try it?" And Lightning's like, "What is it?" And he's like, "It's a fried niblet ball." And Niblet is one of the enemies. It's like one of the trash mobs that you fight. It's like Niblet hair or something like that. And it sounds disgusting. And she's like, "Yeah, sure, fuck it, whatever." So she eats it, and Lightning's voice actors, man, they do the whole thing where she's like, she's so stoic for most of the time, but then sometimes she has little bursts of emotion, and Lightning is like, "Oh my god, this is actually really good. Like, it's one of the best things I've ever eaten." But she still says it in like her stoic Lightning voice. It's really good. And he's ecstatic, and he's like, "Oh my god, I knew it was super good. That's awesome." She's like, why is this place not blowing up?" And he explains that he's been trying to get this restaurant off the ground, it just hasn't been working. So then you go on a quest where it's actually a very long quest. I'm not going to go through all of it, but the basis is you have to go and find this guy who's a famous celebrity chef who goes around to shitty failing restaurants and shows them how to be better, and his name is Gordon Gourmet.
Oh my god.
So good.
No, it's not.
So you go to this stupid fucking quest, and you find Gordon Gourmet, and it's this long-ass thing, and the CD is like, "Oh, I can't talk to Gordon." Once you find where Gordon Gourmet is, you're like, "I found him, he's over there." And he's like, "Oh, I can't talk to him, you gotta talk to him for me." And then Gordon Gourmet is like, "Oh, I can't go talk to CD, you gotta talk to him for me." Turns out, Gordon Gourmet is CD's estranged father, and it's his whole fucking thing. But it ends heartwarmingly with the two of them opening up a restaurant together. It's a really cool quest, but the premise was really what got me. I'm like, man, that's like when World of Final Fantasy had the Columbo Pokemon named Colundo. But yeah, what else has the game got? Another thing I'll share, and this might just be it for me. There is a outfit you can get from the other city, where basically it's an insanely fucking snazzy purple suit. Like, it's literally just like a fucking fancy ass like woman's suit that's purple. It's got this tie. It's got these fucking like epaulets and stuff. She looks fantastic. It's like one of the most dripped up fits. I yelled at my GF and was like, "You got to come look at this," because my GF dress is very butch, so it's like a good looking suit. It's like, oh hell yeah, right. Here's the crazy thing: a lot of this game has a shit ton of optional dialogue and optional writing, and a lot of it is based around outfits. Like, you'll notice if you wear certain things, people will comment on it, which is really cool. If you run around in this fit, everyone comments on how good you look. But there's two particular lines that really get me. Both of them are when you run by a female NPC. One of them is, I think it's like, "She looks handsome," or "She looks so ... handsome," and I'm like, that's fucking right. Let's go. But then the other one is, again, a woman, and she goes, he looks so cute. And that's when I knew that someone in this game's development team knows what's up. That's all I'm saying. And this confirms my theory that in between the previous game and this game, they found out that lesbians like Final Fantasy. Someone in the marketing team figured that out, and now they're pandering, and it's really, really good. What else y'all got?
I don't know. Probably there was lots of stuff that was really memorable, but it's been 3 weeks.
Yeah. I did like the kitty cat one. I remember something about the soul seeds thing being interesting. But I can't
You
remember what it
remember
is.
wrong.
I remember it be like, I think their hats are stupid, and I think that's what it was.
They
Is
are.
that they all have stupid hats.
That is all I would be able to wring out of that particular rag. So let's go with that.
Yeah.
Yep. One final thing, and this is a combination of Mim-Mom plus also a tip for y'all. Remember that thing, the Metagard? I'll tell you how to get it. Okay. So you got to go to the other cities, the beautiful, beautiful city of Chicago, the Windy City, baby. And basically you find out that there's all these Chocobo girls around town, and they're all like advertising girls or something. But there's a promotion where if you say the magic words to them, then they'll give you a prize. They'll give you a little treat. And you gotta check all the posters in the area to find the one that got that. Unfortunately,
that was I remember I did that side quest too, and my memorable moment from it is that the password is meow meow choco chow.
Yeah, so you find out the password is meow meow choco chow, and then you gotta go and you gotta say that to all 5 of the Chocobo girls. Lightning does not enjoy this quest at all. And
I was about to ask if we get to hear Lightning's voice actor say.
Yes, and it's hysterical. And every time she does it, it's a different read. Every time she does it, she gets clearly more and more annoyed. By the end, she's just like, meow meow choco chow, and they're like, ah, clapping at her. And then Hope will comment on it and be like laughing or like it's really cute when you say that, Lightning. And she's like, you're really enjoying this, aren't you? It's a fucking great quest, but you got to do it because you get the outfit. And to cap the embarrassment to Lightning's stoic disposition off, most of all, when you finish the quest, you get literally the Catgirl race from FF14.
Nice.
As the outfit, and the flavor text is literally like, these are from the mystical land of Eorzea. It's
amazing.
So fucking me quote. That's what they're called, me quote, which is what every transgirl plays, a me quote character pretty much. Like I don't, but it's a stereotype. But anyway, the me quote outfit has Metagard on it. It's got Metagard and Magic Slash, which are apparently both incredible moves. Magic Slash apparently is incredible, but you gotta. It's one of those like game breaking things. Like you got to learn how to use it, and then it's OP. I didn't feel like doing that. I also didn't feel like using an outfit that has 2 locked-in abilities, so I haven't been using it. But FYI, people say it's really good. That's probably it for me. There's a lot of stuff in this game that I could say, but I'm not gonna.
Yeah, I enjoy this video game. Oh, that does remind me. So for those of y'all playing on Steam and or Xbox Game Pass PC, there is a hidden graphics menu that you don't ever see, and I had not run into for all of 13.2 and everything up until today for 13.3, and presumably it's there for 13.1 as well. But to get in on some of that Xbox Series X 4K niceness, you want to the normal graphics menus, you have the one in the launcher and then the one in game, and the one in game sucks really bad. The one in the launcher lets you pick like your resolution and your general, like I think you have like low or ultra settings, and like that's it. It's also super crappy. But if you set it to windowed and not to full screen, it'll pop up in a window that has a menu bar at the top. One of those buttons is graphics, and so you can unlock your frame rate to be playing at 60 or above. You then, if you click full screen there, that makes it full screen windowed instead of like native full screen, so you can throw it on another monitor to have a guide up on the side. You can fix the color grading, which is messed up by default. You can up all of the texture filtering. You can do all of the things that the Xbox Series X does to make it look super awesome and modern. You can unlock that on the PC, but I don't think you can get that window if you're in native full screen version. So put it in windowed, set up all the things, and then put it in full screen from the windowed version, and you can have a very nice, very pretty version of Final Fantasy XIII.
Good advice. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
So for next time, again, I'm going to give you a little bit of guidance so that it's not confusing. Next quest we're going to do is the one in the Windy City, aka the city, aka Yusnaan. And it's the snow one, right? So FYI, here's how it works. I forget exactly when you can trigger this quest, like when you can start triggering it. I don't know when. But if you just go to explore the city as soon as you can and talk to everyone, eventually you'll talk to the person who triggers it. It's the levels, the city is pretty linear. It's not a loop like Luxurion. It's linear. You go to or from the big palace. So if you go towards the palace, once you're very close to the palace, you'll find a guy who basically is a tour guide, and he's like, "Hey, no one's allowed to get into the palace, but I can get you in." So you gotta talk to that guy, and then he says, "I'll get you in. You gotta meet me at this place at 6 p.m." They are a little bit lenient with it. I ended up being late. I was there around 6:30, and they still let me in, thank goodness. But don't be late, all right? And once you do that, it is not all one thing. You get like breaks, like you have an action scene, and then you're back in the main city and can explore freely, and you can either do the rest of the quest or not. But like, if you want to, at that point, it's a straight shot to the end. Like, quests 2-2, 2-3, 2-4, 2-5 are all just in a linear row, and you'll be done by the end of that game day. So, I'm just letting you know so that you can plan ahead. Once you start that thing at 6, whatever, you're just fucking going, and I don't think you'll have too much trouble with it either. I don't really remember the boss, and I mean, it's obviously snow. Because that's the quest. But, like, I don't remember it being particularly difficult or anything like that. So, yeah, go have fun with it. And as usual, anything else you feel like doing, have fun, thieves.
Nice.
Cool. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're good now.
So yeah, that will do it for the week. If you liked what you heard, you can head on over to www.rpgbook.club, where you can donate to help us pay for more series like this. We're currently trying to get Metal Gear Solid 1 for a shortcast. Super excited to hear Maddie talk about Metal Gear for 2 straight episodes. And
wait, I'm doing those?
I don't know if you're doing notes, but you will be talking about Metal Gear Solid for 2 straight episodes.
Probably.
I would not be able to shut you up.
I don't know how much we have to say about the first game, honestly. We'll see.
But
I don't believe you.
And you also, when you donate, will get access to the Book Club no Kaseki episodes a month before everybody else does. And you also will get the ability to vote on our polls for what we play on our next main game. And you get all of that for either a one-time donation of any amount or at $1 a month. If you decide to up your donations to a $5 a month minimum, we also shout you out at the end of every episode. So shout outs to Cerebral Wind, Anthony Lerma, Vimk, Jfro Prime, Eli Bergmoss, Doho, and Tuxedo Ken. And then if you like us a whole lot, you can upgrade to the Luminary tier, like our friend Carr has, where we will also read a 1 to 2 sentence shout out for whatever you want us to. Carr is not online, but he is a dentist, so his shout out is to brush your teeth twice a day, especially right before bed. But I think that will do it for the week. So for RPG Book Club Longcast, I have been Sam Allman.
I'm David Bernard Hauk.
I'm Maddie Grace Levin.
Toodaloo, folks.
Bye, dorks.
So The Giver.
Yeah, I remember the basic sketch of the game of the book's plot, but I guess I don't remember whatever it is that you're talking about.
The Giver raises a lot of really interesting philosophical questions.
The thing with killing the babies.
Yes, but then it's like, we kill babies and old people for no reason. They were so the society's bad. And I'm like, so now we just have to toss out all the interesting philosophical reasons because the society arbitrarily kills people.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we thought the whole thing was like, is it okay to do a society like this? Like, yeah, we have a good society, but at this cost. But then it's like, no, it's just evil. That makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah. I was thinking about other aspects of the plot. Wait, because before they reveal that it's bad, what do you think is happening?
Well, I don't know. You just think it's a fucked up, weird society, but in some ways, like, what is bad about the society? We have to actually ask ourselves, why does it feel repellent to us, these ideas?
Oh, that's right. It's what you learn, that anytime someone is exiled, they're actually being murdered.
Yes.
That's what it, because it's like, oh, it's a totalitarian state where everyone has very specific roles, and they exile you if you go against it. But everyone seems pretty happy. It seems like a pretty good society. Like, it is weird, but also I can't really put my finger on, like, I can't make a solid argument for why it's morally wrong. And then, it's like, oh, this is built on mass death. Okay.
Yeah.
It makes it a lot less interesting.
I haven't read that book since I was in literal first grade. So I probably wasn't thinking about it on that level. But I mean, you know what though? It made enough of an impression that I remember all those plot details I just said, despite reading it in first grade. But yeah, so I definitely did not have that critique of it.